All right, hello everybody, and welcome once again to the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. Coming to you from the Mechanicsburg Brew Pub here today. It's Mike Parker, Artie Tafoya, and Henry Grossman. Henry, how's it going, man? We haven't caught up with you for a few months.
Going really well.
Good.
Going great.
Awesome. You look good. You look tan.
I've got a lot of tanning going on. I've been spending a lot of time outside.
Nice. Artie, yeah, you look fairly tan. You maybe a little crispy. Have you been out in the sun?
I don't tan, I red. I don't know why. But
Right. Carrie connects the freckles, and you just kind of get a little bit darker shade of red every once in a while.
right.
That's all right.
Redder and redder throughout the summer.
I know. I got to say, it's not really easy to tell fully clothed, which we're going to keep the podcast fully clothed today. But I actually probably have my best tan going on in years.
All right.
So I just got back from the Outer Banks on that annual family trip that we talked about last podcast. You guys do anything fun so far? Do you go away, or you been local here so far this summer?
I actually just got back from Myrtle Beach.
Nice.
So I was down in Myrtle Beach for a little bit. We were down there for a baseball tournament and had some fun with the family, plenty of time on the beach, plenty of time in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
And I was just down in Asheville. I was there for a week. I did say Asheville, beer town, and we toured a bunch of breweries. I have some friends down there that are brewers, and we got a chance to tour a bunch of breweries. Probably the highlight of the trip was going to Sierra Nevada.
Oh, cool.
Oh man, that place is just amazing. It just they rocked it, man.
Cool.
Probably one of the coolest breweries I've ever seen, and just the amount of money they put into it and all that. They didn't miss a detail. And I was very fortunate to have a couple of our ex-employees working down there, and they got me all hooked up, and it was
Nice.
awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, it's a great brand. Sierra Nevada's been around a long time. Great labels. I'll always notice it on the shelf. So, and speaking of, I mean, it's the summer of what are we calling it? The hazy
days of summer.
The hazy days of summer, because in front of us we actually have a nice selection of hazy brews we're going to talk about here in a couple of minutes. But, well, it's the three of us, Artie, but we also have a special guest, somebody that you've been wanting to get on the podcast for a long time. Actually, sort of an ABC original, right? You want to introduce us to our special guest here this week?
You bet, Mike. Very excited today to have Joe Scheffey in the house with us. Joe has Joe and I worked together 20-some years ago, 26 years ago, however long it's been. For many years. But he is an ABC original. He helped build the brewery downtown. He helped paint it. If you see anything done in there, he probably had a hand in it. And then he was our brewer for many years there upon the startup of our company. And so I got a chance to run into him the other day, and he was able to make it in. So we're really happy to have you, Joe.
Yep. Thanks for having me. It's great. Yeah, thanks for the invite. Really appreciate it.
Welcome, Joe. I know you're a big listener of the podcast. I think he said he just found out we had a podcast about 3 minutes ago.
That's not true.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But it's always good to see a familiar face around the brew pub. Joe Scheffey is definitely a familiar name, and appreciate you making some time for us to be here. And we're going to talk about stuff that you have going on, including a long-time event that's been associated with Appalachian Brewing Company for many, many years, and it involves a couple of all of our shared loves, I guess. Whether I know we're all good at beer. I don't know if we're good at the other one, but it's golf. So Artie's getting better. I know he's getting better at golf.
Well, I've been getting a little more in than I ever did in the past, but just allowed myself to join a league, and so at least now I'm playing weekly, which instead of just playing weekly.
Yeah. With an
you
A.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Henry, do you do any golfing?
I do. I'm more of the tournament golfer. I don't really go out and play my own round, but I usually come out and contribute to some sort of a shotgun round, and I enjoy it. I actually have 2 rounds scheduled for next week.
Wow, that's awesome. I don't schedule rounds very often. It's more of a spur of the moment thing, and I'm okay if I'm like the 3rd or 4th option, on a team, but same thing. I kind of like that. I like the best ball round where you're out there, enjoying a couple of beverages. Specifically in the I love golfing in the fall. It's kind of fun because I lose balls a lot on the course, and at least in the fall, there's a lot of leaves on the ground, and even a good golfer can lose a ball under a leaf every once in a while. Sure. So, anyway, so let's talk about the beer first before we get into the golf. So, Artie, let's go around here. I've got some cans, some beautiful new cans from ABC. In front of me is the Chasing Shadows New England Style Hazy IPA. What do you have?
Well, I've got our Sigma Oasis, just an amazing New England style, same as yours, just done with a little bit different hopping. So the difference between yours and mine, they're very similar. Mine's a little bit darker in color, but they're both that beautiful golden sort of opaque color. Mine is more tropical, the Sigma Oasis.
Right.
They, tropical fruits, mangoes, passion fruit, that type of thing, and yours is just a little bit more grapefruity, that citrus side of it, a little more pine in that as well. So excited about these two beers. Just came out, they're as fresh as could be. I think they were canned last week, so very excited about this, and look for them in the beer distributors because they're hitting the market as we speak.
Got it. Henry, what do you have in front of you? Something a little bit different, maybe a little bit more high test as well.
Yeah, it's so this is the big brother to Sigma Oasis and Chasing Shadows. This is Beach Nap. It falls in line with the summertime. This is a hazy double IPA. It's a New England, has Simcoe hops, some New Zealand Strata hops, Sultana, but sort of along the same lines. It's real citrusy, real tropical, really delicious. Yeah, and it just you just gotta tread lightly. It hits a little harder, just a little harder.
I tried it yesterday, and these hazy beers, they sort of, once they're canned, they sort of taste one way, and then they sort of mellow all of a sudden. It's pretty cool to see, but I had a chance to try it last night and just got a big pow of pineapple, and it was pretty cool. That the different fruits that come out, and a little bit, some will come forward and then back out a little bit too. So it's pretty interesting to really get into these beers.
It's great, and then we have another IPA over here, which is your recent collab beer. You want to tell us what Joe's drinking?
Well, Joe can tell you what he's drinking because he's tasting it, but he can probably tell you better.
We're going to taste it here in a second. But what's the name of that one over there?
I'm drinking the Funkalation. It's a West Coast style IPA, a little bit not necessarily on the hazy side.
Beautiful, yes.
So,
Yeah. We sort of tried to pair up the hazy with sort of a West Coast, and it's got some great aromas, right? And
it sure does, and it's a little bit more traditional on the IPAs.
Nice. All right, gentlemen. Well, without further ado, this is the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. We got a 4-man clank. Cheers to you all.
Cheers.
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 I've had it before. The Chasing Shadows is good, but this is the first time I've had it this season. And like you said, it's got that classic hazy IPA look, lighter color to it, and as you said, you've got the tropical sort of tones, and I've got those piney notes that are just so refreshing on a finish on an IPA. What everything good for you over there, Artie?
It's spot on, as good as it's ever been. This is like the difference is, mine's 6.7% alcohol. I think Henry's is 8.1. He's got the higher test right now.
Yeah, I'm 7.3.
7.3 and
7-1 over here.
Yep.
Nice.
So we've got a little bit of a spectrum here from 6.7 to 7 or to 8.1. So it's gonna be a good podcast, I think.
Beautiful.
Thanks, guys. I hope I can stay awake through the rest of the day. Give me the heavy one.
The good news is there's not a beach nearby, but there is a quarry. So I don't know.
I'm not taking a nap in the quarry.
I would highly recommend against napping in the Pensy Supply Quarry.
You'll get awakened when they blow up.
When they blast, yeah.
Blast the next time.
Nice. Well, we talking about some events, and we're going to talk about the event that Joe's here to promote and talk about too. But Artie, over the years, one of the great events that's occurred here at Appalachian Brewing Company Mechanicsburg in the quarry was the Bruiser, the adventure race, and it gets on a hot day, man, that thing it gets a little smoking down there in the quarry, especially after you're carrying a 50-pound bucket of gravel over your head or whatever they make you do down there. It's pure torture. But it's a super fun event. Joe, did you ever partake in the
I
Bruiser?
never.
No.
I was here, witnessed it a couple times, volunteered to 1 year, but that
Oh,
was.
that's right. You helped us out.
Yeah.
That was awesome. You know, we always say that the quarry looks like the moon, but it's as hot as the sun.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you walk in, it's like the gray desert or something, you know, with all the limestone there. But it gets hot down there, that's for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, as always, special events occur throughout the year across the chain of brew pubs all across the region here for Appalachian Brewing Company. If you want to stay in touch, know what kind of cool things are happening, as always, check us out on social media. Go to the website abcbrew.com. So when we come back, we're gonna continue to enjoy our hazy days of summer, and we're gonna talk about a long time event that takes place on the golf course. It's a lot of fun, and we'll tell you how you can get involved when we come back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. Okay, and we're back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. We just headed down into the quarry and retrieved Henry from his nap down there. But no, how's the beach nap treating you over there?
It's doing well. It's doing really well.
Good.
Unfortunately, I need to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going too easy, going down too easily.
Well, we're in segment 2 of 3 here, so you've got a little bit of time. Artie, we have a special guest with us this week, and it's an ABC original. Somebody that you mentioned has done so much for the company over the years, helped you start things off, building, painting, brewing, everything in between, including a little bit of golfing. And there's a signature event that has a great history with Appalachian Brewing Company. I want you to tell us all about it, and then Artie and Joe, take it away. I want you guys to explain what we're talking about and why this is a special year.
Well, Joe can explain it better than I. He's been at every one. I think I missed a couple in there, but we have the Smitty golf tournament. And tell us how the whole thing got started, and give us the history a little bit, Joe.
Well, we started off basically, when Smitty passed away. Smitty passed away too young, of course, and he left behind 3 children and his wife at that time. So we decided to come up and start a golf tournament, Matt Smith Memorial Golf Tournament. It's more of a party than it is a golf outing. Always has been. We've been doing it for 20 years. This is our 20th year, and everything has its own life cycle. So this is actually our last year doing it. Been a lot of craziness that happens throughout. A lot of music. We've had, many bands and so forth throughout. Main focus is to provide assistance to a parent in a family that was lost, whether it be a breadwinner or not, but we provided sources to make them not have to worry about where their food's coming from, what's happening, how they're going to pay for something until the insurance and everything kicks in, of course. So we were there basically to provide meals and just to help out it's one less thing they had to worry about during the time.
How much have you raised over the last 20 years? Do you know the total, Joe?
At least $350,000.
Wow.
That's amazing. Great job,
Yeah,
man.
it is.
That's
So is
amazing.
it so the Smitty golf? I've seen the signs. For just from being around the brew pub for the better part of 20 years myself. Is it one of those things that anyone can get involved with? Is it more of a closed group? Where can I find some information on how to get involved and maybe information on this last 20th edition of the tournament?
Well, the 20th now is called The Last Call. You can get on the smitty.org, but we are full at this time, so it's sold out basically, which
Okay.
is great. Thanks for everybody's support over the last 20 years. I think we've sold out every year.
Can they donate on the website, Joe?
Yeah, you can still donate on the website for sure. anything is greatly appreciated. Like we said, it goes right back into our close-knit community within brewers, and then, friends and families that we know, of course.
So you talk about some crazy stories that have happened over the years. Fun stuff, right? Memorable moments. Is there anything? Just give me an idea, because look, I've been at enough golf tournaments to tell you some of them can be kind of, I would say, hoity-toity with $1,000 gift bags of things that I don't really want or care about. And then other ones are just a good time from the moment you get there. Every hole there's kind of something fun going on and great people and laid back. I'm guessing I can figure out where this one lies, but you want to tell me how things kind of work if I'm a participant in the Smitty?
Well, when we started, they used to allow us to have 5 or 6 kegs on the course.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you every 2 or 3 holes there was a keg there. So you never had an empty beer. So
Right.
that was
and you
that
can
was
yeah
fun.
you can tell where that would lead to for sure.
That's right.
I mean,
Some high scores.
some high scores, right?
Yeah.
Definitely some memorable highs there.
So and
yeah.
I remember that. I remember you, and in many cases, Joe. He used to get to golf sometimes, but sometimes he'd be just the beer guy. So he'd be running around making sure that all the kegs had ice, that everything was taken care of, and then he'd come over and hit a ball with us every once in a while when he was doing that. But God, we had so much fun there. I mean, you think about all the very close calls on golf carts.
Oh, yeah.
And that type of thing. Well,
Golf carts ending up down in the creek.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to host the Smitty,
So, one thing that gets overlooked, I think, with the Smitty is Matt Smith, and I know he was a dear friend of yours, Joe. You guys were very, very close. I mean, I got relatively close working with him because he worked with ABC first 3 or 4 years that we were in business, right? And then he decided to go in a different direction, and he's got 3 great kids. But tell us about your sort of relationship with him and how he sort of brought you in. I know you're an investor also, so tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I grew up with Smitty pretty much through high school. Knew him through there. Just stayed together. And at one point, we were actually looking, other friends of mine, we were actually looking at possibly opening up like a brew pub. So we started to do some demographics in the area. Then these other people, once we started talking about demographics with, Liquor Control Board and everything, they're like, hey, there's other people that are looking at doing this as well. And it turned out Smitty was one of them. So basically, he's the one that kind of pulled me into Appalachian Brewing Company. So continued on from there.
Yeah, so Matt was a big Deadhead guy, right?
Yeah,
right?
he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and he loved the Dead. He loved Jerry Garcia.
Loved life in general.
Yeah, loved life
mean,
in general. That's right.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys always had the Jerry Garcia Rolling Stones cover up in the house.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have that?
He was always watching. I still have that hanging in the room. Yep.
Good for you. Good for you.
Little
That's
faded, but
Is
it's
it?
all good.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
it's all good. It's still there.
Yeah. And his kids, they're now grown age, right?
Yep.
What are they doing now?
Whoa.
Do you know?
Yeah. Peyton's working for, I think, Catholic Charities. She's down in Louisiana. Darby's a nurse, traveling nurse. She lives actually down in Atlanta, not too far from where my daughter lives, and they basically hang out a good bit. Which
Oh, that's awesome.
kind of,
I didn't know
kind
that.
of comes full circle there. Kiefer's local, carpenter, and he just enjoys going to festivals. Keeping
Doing
up
shows.
with the Smitty spirit, for
There
sure.
you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, great. Well, we did so many fun things back when we first started the brewery. We would do rafting trips and we would do all these things. And
Well,
Smitty was,
that's an
he was
another one.
always, spearheading all that stuff. And we'd go to festivals and do all that stuff. And it was so much fun. But, like you said, he passed away way too young. And you guys have done a great job of creating a legacy for him. And I think that's so amazing. for what you guys have done. I know running a 20-year tournament is never easy.
Wow, it's
And
a great team.
Yeah, you guys had a
think that's
great
for
team
sure.
with you and Hank and Sam.
Yeah.
And
Smitty's brother, Doug, Nancy,
that's right, and Nancy, his
wife.
his ex-wife or his wife, I guess.
wife, yeah, I
don't know what it is.
How do you call it?
How do you call it?
Widow, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, great team there, and we've been so happy to. We weren't really intricately involved because these are good friends of Smitty's. I mean, really close growing up friends.
Right.
Whereas we were always the beer sponsor and provided beer for every tournament. We had the easy part. Joe would show up at the brewery, we'd load him up, and he'd take the truck over. I think even we got to the point where we were dropping everything off. But he
Rules
called me.
changed.
Yeah, right. So he called me and said, "Hey, what are we doing for beer this year?" I said, "Well, let's get together and let's do the podcast at the same time." So
There you
it's
go.
all working out. So
Cool.
it's
Well, you
good.
going to place an order then right now? Because, with the...
Yeah. Well, yeah.
what was Smitty's favorite flagship? And while we're talking about him, I'd love to just talk about you too, Joe. As far as your what's your go-to when you come into the brew pub?
His favorite was the Pale, and you brought up Sierra Nevada earlier on in the podcast. We tried to basically mold our Pale to the same as the Sierra Nevada
nice.
Pale, and I think we got pretty close.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't
I think we got
100%, but it was a good beer, and that was pretty much the go-to beer at that time. When I come in now, I'm looking for anything new, and I'm always fond of the Porter, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Porters.
You're a pretty big Pilsner guy too, though.
Yeah,
right?
I do. I do like the Pilsners.
Great. Well,
I only know that because I spent a few times over at his house and we're drinking out of his kegerator.
Yeah.
He usually has a
Mostly
good-
Pilsners and lager.
That's right.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
it works.
so
It
that's
works.
good. Yeah.
Well, like you said, it's a great legacy. 20 years. That's more than commendable. I mean, that's outstanding. So, congratulations on that. Great to hear that it's sold out. If there's any other way to get involved, whether it's through a general support of a donation or maybe some sort of sponsorship, I'll tell you what, why don't you go ahead and check out the website? I know that Henry has it pulled up over here. You want to tell us about online, where to find more information?
Yeah, it's thesmitty.org. The THESMITTY.org, and I believe on there's a registration page that you could probably make a donation through.
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. And we're going to look for some high scores again, probably this year. So if we'll look for some results of that. So when we get together for the podcast next time, as we head into fall, I guess I can't believe we're already talking about Labor Day and September, but it's coming up, and we'll have some results from the Smitty that we'll share, and maybe we can talk about. Just wrap it up and follow up, because it's been a nice conversation. It's been great to have you here with us, Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate
right.
it. Thanks for
Well,
having me.
hey, while we've got Henry, with us this week on the podcast, we're going to find out what's going on from his perspective around the brewery and all around the company here as we continue the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. We'll learn about what's coming up, what you can check out, and what to be excited for as we make that sad transition from summer into fall. I don't want to make it. I guess it's not sad, is it?
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Okay. Sometimes I struggle, Artie.
It's still July.
What did I say? This was 7.3%
Days are
alcohol.
on the game, a little bit shorter.
Yeah, just because Oktoberfest is coming out in July now.
No. Yes. Fall, who am I to speak? Fall is one of the greatest times of the year. All right. Things are always better with beer, and we'll be right back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. Okay, we're back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast, and just for the record, I love fall. You know what? Screw summer.
You notice that. You notice you love fall.
All right. So I mentioned that we've got Mike, Artie, Henry Grossman here today, and Joe Scheffey is our special guest. But I want to turn things over to Henry for a minute or two here, because Henry is he kind of does a lot around the company, but his title is Strategic Growth Officer. So, yeah, he's always growing things, I don't know. It's like, We mentioned before that working around a brewery is kind of like being a farmer, right? Never a day off.
It's true. It's true. You got to always be moving forward.
Right. So as far as like what's in season right now, what's on tap, I think it's only appropriate. You know, we do a little throwback to the last segment here where we talked about the Smitty and Smitty's favorite beer, which just so happens to be on tap right now. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah. So I was unaware of this, but Joe actually just informed us that it was the Purest Pale Ale, which is one of the OG beers here at Appalachian from back in the day, and it actually had been out of our brewing lineup there for a while. And just recently, I mean, it's our 25th anniversary, so we kind of decided to brew some of our older beers again. And the Purest Pale Ale happens to be on draft right now for a limited time. It's not going fully into the lineup again, but I thought it'd be appropriate, you know, with it being Smitty's favorite, that we all grab a small pint of it and do a little toast to Smitty.
Yeah, here's a
Beautiful.
Smitty.
All right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
And I love the pale ale, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. So
As I remember it.
That's so good.
very nice. Is it as you remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Joe,
It really is.
Joe, what is it about? So first of all, I remember buying cases. One of my favorite beers back in the day. It also came in the original variety pack, but the label to me was outstanding too because it was simple. I remember the green label with the bear. I think
Yeah.
it was next to the river, which I always thought, man, I haven't seen too
With
many
the
bears
hiker going up
down
through it.
down
Yeah.
by the Susquehanna River personally. But I always thought that'd be neat if I did. So no, anyway, what do you remember and talk about the style? What do you love, Joe, about a pale ale and particularly the Purest Pale Ale?
Yeah, the Purest Pale Ale is pretty much like it's just balanced. The malt is balanced from the hops, and it's not. The hops balance the malt as well. I mean, it's just a neutral, very easy drinking beer
Yeah.
with plenty of flavor.
Keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Artie, do you think the pale ale, just like the Purest Pale Ale, kind of took a little bit of a back burner or a back seat when IPAs really took off, or is it still something that people throw back to and really enjoy from time to time?
Well, you don't see them that often, and I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, the IPAs almost killed the pale ale, really.
Right.
But you see, we're seeing trends now. A lot more lagers coming around, a lot more pale ales coming around. So, hopefully, over time, I love IPAs. I'll be the first one to admit that I love a beer that just, sort of, it's more bang for your buck. This beer's got more aroma, more flavor than any beer out there. But you also love going back to these types of beers. I mean, our lagers are amazing, but this pale ale, spot on. Using the old recipe that we've had in our books forever, but it's beautiful, and of course the grains change, and probably some of the hops have changed over time. Have mutated and are grown. Every year's hops are a little bit different, but it's very good.
Yeah, it definitely still holds up. And as far as Henry mentioned it, 25 years already. That's almost unbelievable to even think about, right?
It doesn't seem like 25 years. I think I say this most podcasts, but no, it's been 25 years. Joe, that made me think of how many batches of pale ale do you think you made in your time?
Can't answer. They're all marked down somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. We can go back.
Certainly wasn't computerized.
Yeah, in these dust-covered books. In our archives.
Yeah, they're in binders
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's right.
Man. Well, that's cool. That's just a little bit of brewery history there. That's why it's so cool to have guests on the podcast. Give us a little bit of perspective, because I can just picture, Artie and Joe just in the back, just whipping up another batch of Purest Pale Ale, and here we are.
There you go.
On
Artie, shovel out that mash tun, would you? Oh, gee,
Yeah.
thanks, Artie.
I was the only one that could fit in the mash tun back then. So yeah, they used to throw me in there. Don't come out until all the grain's
Yeah,
gone.
no
Like,
such
he
thing
was
as
built for
rakes
this.
then.
That's right.
No rakes then.
Yeah, that's right.
We had the plastic paddle rake. We
Yeah,
did have
that's
the
right.
rake.
Yeah, I saw that rig the other day. It's
Is
going
it still there?
Yeah, it's going in the archives.
Archives, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, old brewery stories. They're old, but they never get old. So I like it. We'll keep them coming. But talking about the old which is, the new again. But we actually have some new stuff coming up here too, Henry. And we have another sample that we want to try, something that's going to be on tap here in the first week of August. So if we're listening to this podcast this week, pop into the brew pubs around August 3rd, right? And what can we find on tap?
Yeah, Wednesday, August 3rd, we actually have, it's part of our sour series. It's our pineapple upside down cake. So again, it's a little bit, it's kind of the polar opposite of the purest pale ale.
Yeah.
This is a completely new style that's just evolved from the past couple years. And it's really, really fun. And I'm one of the guys that I really trend more towards classic styles. But the sour series are definitely growing on me. It's really something different. It's got great flavor. It's really good mouthfeel. And the guys in the brew house are doing it right. So
Yeah, they're really dialing the sours in,
yeah.
They're more consistent now than they've ever been. It's tough because it's a wild fermentation basically. Whenever you make a sour in most cases, and to get them nice and clean and crisp and have that wonderful pineapple, the fruit forward in there, and it to stay balanced and consistent is not easy by any means. So they've worked really hard. I know that Bruce and Cliff and Scott and our entire team have worked hard on this for a while now. Try it.
I was going to say, Artie, I'm going to go. I am a big fan of sours. So it's something that I think probably over the last couple of years, if I pop into a new brew pub somewhere in my travels, and I'm always looking for a wheat beer, I'm always looking for a Hefeweizen if they have it, because those are my favorites, and I always like to try an IPA to see if it is what it is advertised. But if there's a sour on the menu, that means those guys are pretty well diverse, right? I start to think, wow, they're trying some new stuff. It's not always good. I think, sometimes these sours can go wrong, but this one is sounding perfectly by Henry's description of what's up my alley. So as I try it, tell me what I should be tasting here as I tilt back this pineapple upside down sour.
Go for it.
All right.
Yeah, so this is definitely, it's very pineapple forward, but then there's also elements. There's vanilla in there. There's a marshmallow fluff. You might pick up some graham in there as well. And this is a little bit different than kind of your basic kettle sour, where it really has more of a bittering type of taste to it. There's a lot more smoothness to this, but it definitely falls in the sour family, and it just really comes through.
This is like the second podcast in a row talking about pineapple. I think it's probably one of my favorite fruit flavors, like combined with alcohol, right? So I was talking about going on vacation last time around, and I sure did, man. We hit up the pineapple and vodka and the pina colada type style, and this is delicious. I could see myself enjoying this. Joe, this is something new for you. You definitely didn't brew this back in 97, right?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah. We tried not to have this happen.
So what do you think, though? What do you
No,
like?
it's good. I like it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'm surprised.
it's kind of
very
Artie,
good.
you can talk about how you taste different flavors in different parts of your mouth. Really, like when you become that aware. I mean, I know most people just like to tilt back a beer, but when you're actually thinking about it, I'm picking up all those things that Henry was talking about, like that marshmallow specifically. I'm feeling that like kind of on the roof of my mouth. That's how it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, it really comes through, like the flavors come through in layers. So like you pick up the marshmallow, and I always pick up the graham at the very, very end. It's really, I don't know how they do it. I'm not a brewer. I don't know how they do it exactly, but it's incredible.
So you're more of an idea man, but seeing these ideas and telling people about them, that's sort of your specialty.
Yeah, really just that, and kind of keeping my pulse on the market and seeing like where things are headed. And the brewing industry just definitely kind of ebbs and flows, So I mean, you go to classic styles, you go to new styles, and you kind of have to be ready for everything.
What's the exact name of this one when I come in?
This is pineapple upside down cake.
Beautiful. All right. Well, that's delicious, guys. This has been a fun podcast. I mean, I normally we try a couple of beers. We went a little deeper this time. We're 4 flavors. So listen, it's still plenty of time in summer left. we've got a lineup of hazy IPAs around Appalachian Brewing Company. You got the Chasing Shadows, you got the Sigma Oasis, you've got the Beach Nap, and if you're looking for something different, we got an IPA that's a collaboration beer along with our friends from Funk Brewing Company in Appalachian called Funkalation. Just a great beer. So if you're into the hazy IPAs, a great selection right now. And then, man, if you just want to kick back, it's like that throwback, I guess, the purest pale ale. Joe, you know you're loving that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, something new. We got the pineapple upside down cake sour. Artie, I want you to round it out here. The mic is yours as we round out the podcast. Anything else you want to tell the listeners this time around?
Mike, we always sort of sit back and look at ourselves and what we are as a company, and it's exciting to see the things that our teams are doing. You know, all this stuff that we put together during the pandemic and even before that, that have come to fruition now, and we're just sort of, I say this a lot, we're hitting on all cylinders, and I really feel that way, and it's nice to have a little bit of momentum going your way. Over the last couple of years, we certainly felt like we were swimming uphill quite a bit, or upstream, I should say. It was tough, but now it's all coming into we're coming into our own, and we're really excited about the future.
Joe, does it bring back? This isn't supposed to be nostalgia because you're welcome anytime, man. You're definitely still part of the team. But anything you wanted to say to folks, and any final last pitches for people to be aware of the great things you're doing with the Smitty?
Yep. Go to the website. Check us out on there. Donate if you're at all possible. And as far as Appalachian, the beers are excellent. Stop in and have a few.
Awesome. And as we round things out there, Henry, hit us up with some websites and other places people can follow Appalachian Brewing Company.
Absolutely, yeah. You can take a look at all of our brew pubs, all of our beers, all our spirits and sodas at abcbrew.com. And I do have a little teaser for possible next one for the guys that are really into the fall. We are ahead of the game, and we have some things in the tanks as we speak that are ready for the fall season, like Capona Fest and some brown ales. So Stay tuned to that.
All right, we will stay tuned. And always, Appalachian Brewing Company products are available all across the area. Appalachian craft beers, look for them at the cooler at your local grocery store where other fine beers are sold. Appalachian craft spirits are available at the fine wine and spirit stores across the region. And I can't help it, I'm going to put another plug in for my new favorite soda. It's the Liquid Outer Space. And every time I walk into one of the brew pubs or a Carnes Foods location, Artie, I'm thinking about how many of those I have to pound before I can. I want to have a rocket that is actually taller than my own house. So,
there you go.
Yeah. The rocket can's doing great.
Yeah, it's doing well. So we're really excited about that partnership with Carnes and putting our Liquid Outer Space into all their stores. And it's been a fun project for us, and we just looking forward to the future on it.
And if you wouldn't mind, what are all the flavors that are involved in that soda?
Exactly.
Darn it, man. Listen, I finally got 3 beers in Artie, and he still won't give up the recipe. All right. Liquid Outer Space, Cosmic Soda. Look for it at Carnes Foods and whenever you visit your favorite Appalachian Brewing Company location. All right. Well, for Artie and Henry, and for our special guest, Joe Scheffey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Tell your friends, abcbrew.com to keep up with all the latest, and we'll see you next time on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast.